that Wander Franco was arrested after appearing at the Puerto Plata prosecutor's office. There was an arrest warrant that he had pending, but it was executed for having failed to comply with the prosecutor's summons. So remember, there was a report that he was supposed to show up, and he never did. And so he finally showed up, and according to this report, he was arrested. However, it wasn't for the allegations out there. If you have been living under a rock, if you have no idea who even Wander Franco is, right? Wander Franco allegedly has been, and again, allegedly, right? We don't, we have yet to see anything really fully come out, any sort of a court case, trial, anything really. I think we're still very in the early goings of everything here. So, but with Wander Franco, the allegations are that he's had relations with underage girls. It's absolutely disgusting. It's horrendous if that is true. But I would imagine we're going to find out a lot of stuff probably over the course of the next year. I would imagine Wander Franco is not going to be playing Major League Baseball over this next coming season, and probably at this point, probably ever again. I mean, listen, we've seen players in the past where, even if they, may have cleared their name, it's still the public eye. It's still the perception, right? And, in Major League Baseball, I would imagine, even if, I don't know, I don't really know what to think down the road, but I would think this is pretty serious stuff, obviously, for Major League Baseball to think, you know what, even, we can't deal with this guy anymore. We can't, it's just, we can't do it. Right, even if somehow his name does get cleared, I would imagine Major League Baseball is not going to want to deal with any of this. Now, I'm not sure what the rules are, because obviously it has the contract and everything, so I'm not sure how that all plays out. But either way, if all of this is true, if it ends up being true, it's disgusting, it's horrendous, and it's horrifying. At the end of the day, it's, my goodness, what are we doing here? But I do want to make it clear, though, he was not arrested for all, these allegations that have come up. He was simply arrested because he did not show up. Right, and Jeff Passan did make that clear earlier, saying here in a tweet at around 4:30, Tampa Bay Rays shortstop Wander Franco was arrested earlier today for no showing his Thursday meeting with the prosecutor investigating him for alleged relationships with underage girls. So that when this first started all coming out that he got arrested, that was everyone was thinking, oh, okay, so that he got arrested for the allegations. No, he got arrested simply because he didn't show up, right, when he was summoned, right? So very big difference right there that we need to make sure we have covered. So another thing I want to point out too, I think this is also really important, and I mentioned this months ago. I really do think it's important to keep this in mind as well. It's not just Wander Franco here, and this was in the article. There's a few different articles out there, but MLB Trade Rumors, they made it nice and simple for everyone. They put it here. They have the word detained, and that was another thing. I've been a little confused where I'm seeing the word arrested. I'm also seeing the word detained. Either way, he's in custody, right? So he's with the police. So I wonder if we get maybe it clears up a little bit there, because those are two different things. Arrested is not detained, right? So, but I'm seeing the word arrested more. So, however, this is something I really want to emphasize here, right? Obviously, Wander Franco, it's horrendous, disgusting, horrifying, right? Any bad word you want to use to describe this whole thing. But there was also this too. Officials have investigated two formal allegations that Franco has had inappropriate relationships with minors. A third minor has made similar claims but did not file an official complaint. According to Liston Diario, the mother of one of the alleged victims was also detained this afternoon. Now, that's a big part of this too. That to me is, now again, we don't know all of the details, right? I think it's gonna be a long time before we really see everything out in the open, right? We're very early in these stages here, but I will say this: the mother being detained, I think that's a big thing too, right? Obviously, Wander Franco is the big one here, right? But the mother, if she knew about stuff going on, right? And I had read in the past that maybe there was some, and again, this is alleged. Like, I'm not saying it's concrete fact. This is just what I had seen, rumors going around there that, and read it in different articles as well, that, there was some blackmailing going on and wanting money and cars and stuff like that. So, from the mother wanting stuff like that, and she knew about everything going on. That's horrendous if you ask me too. Like, that is very bad, right? So also just keep that in mind too, that it is not just Wander Franco, who, yes, obviously he is the guy committing the crime here, but I also think it's pretty terrible that the mother, if she knew about all this stuff going on while it was happening, I think that's pretty bad too. Just want to emphasize that, right? But again, Wander Franco, definitely the main culprit here in this whole thing. So just making that very clear. So again, this is the latest updates here. We don't fully, I feel like there's so many details we don't fully know right now. But eventually I think you're going to start seeing stuff trickling out a little bit. What's going to be the next step? Well, the next step is actually he's going to be in front of a judge for arraignment proceedings within the next 48 hours. So I'm sure we're going to see something with that at some point. So keep an eye out for the next couple of days. We're starting the new year in a pretty rough shape here. Pretty rough shape. Don't want to see this kind of news to start off your 2024. But that's all I got to say on that. Now, I feel like I've started the show with Wander Franco news in the last few shows. And it's like, I hate starting it off with this. It's like, I just want to talk baseball. But at the end of the day, Wander Franco, it is the big story. So I have to talk about that. Now, let's shift gears. Let's talk about baseball. Let's talk about some moves this past weekend. I'm not going to go, fully in depth with the whole Chris Sale trade over the past weekend, but if you just woke up, let's say, you were sleeping the last 3 days, you've been under a rock. Yes, shocker, Chris Sale is now an Atlanta Brave. That just absolutely shocked me when I first saw the news. But yes, that did happen over the weekend. The Braves and the Red Sox coming to terms on a trade. It is official that Chris Sale is heading to Atlanta, and along with cash, right, the Red Sox are going to be paying $17.5 million of the, or $17 million, sorry, of the $27.5 million that he was owed. So the Red Sox are going to be saving around $10 million on their payroll. And in exchange, they get a young second baseman in Vaughn Grissom, who was essentially blocked in Atlanta. So he gets a fresh start. There is definitely some upside with Vaughn Grissom when it comes to the bat, for sure. All right, first home run came at Fenway Park, absolute missile. I remember watching that live. But with Vaughn Grissom, people are wondering, what is his position? I feel like you see a lot of people going back and forth. You've even seen Ron Washington say he could end up, being a shortstop. He needs more time. But then you're seeing some other people out there. I believe he's playing in the Puerto Rican League for the winter. And I think even one of the coaches said there that he doesn't really even see him as a second baseman, right? Now, according to Baseball America, when it comes to the scouting reports, they see him more as a third baseman down the road because he doesn't have a lot of range, but he has good hands, right? That's why they say he could stay at second base, because he does have the hands for it. But when it comes to just the footwork, it needs work. But a lot of people say, maybe a third base down the road. I thought about this too over the weekend. What if the Red Sox at some point, they want to make Rafael Devers a designated hitter? Maybe Vaughn Grissom could end up being the third baseman at some point. And Rafi can play a little third here and there. I feel like eventually Rafael Devers is, in my opinion, I think he's going to be a DH. Hasn't been the best at third base, but maybe Vaughn Grissom could be that at some point down the road. We'll see. Anyway, this happened over the weekend, and now it seems like the Red Sox are looking to keep going. So this came out Also, this past weekend, according to Alex Spire, the Red Sox are exploring trades involving their young outfielders. The top of that bunch is Jarren Duran. He's going to have the most value out of anyone, including Ceddanne Rafaela. The problem with Ceddanne Rafaela, there is definitely a lot of upside for him, but he's a very aggressive bat. He could definitely be a productive bat, but he is very just swing happy, right? He's too aggressive at the plate, according to a lot of people out there, or in a lot of people's opinions, even scouts. They want to see a bit more plate discipline out there, but he really showed the minor leagues he can hit. The question is that going to translate to the major leagues? So with Jarren Duran, he's also, a younger player, and he really proved himself last year with a pretty solid year overall. The big thing with Jarren Duran is he's got the speed, right? But he really showed it with the bat. Defense, it's still a little iffy there. Where is his home going to be in the outfield? Still not the smoothest. People think, I don't know, maybe he could be a center fielder. Maybe he's more positioned, for a left field spot. We'll see with Jarren Duran, but the bat really came up last year with him, and then the speed threat as well, along with the years of control. You're going to see a pretty good value from Jarren Duran. And then you got Wilyer Abreu. He's a younger player too. He showed some promise last year in a small sample size. He has a lot of control as well. He literally just came up. They got him back in the Christian Vasquez trade, a lefty bat. Basically, to me, when you traded Alex Verdugo, you saw Wilyer Abreu there, and you're like, all right, that's a really solid lefty bat. All right, see you later, Alex Verdugo. We got Wilyer Abreu. I'm not saying he's like Alex Verdugo, but you could see a good quality bat there where it made Verdugo expendable. So the question is, which one of these outfielders would they want to move? Now, I think it comes down to which pitcher are they going to go for? I really think it depends at the end of the day, right? The two guys, at least that I keep bringing up, the name that I see more consistently when it comes to the media, as well as some recent trade rumors, is Jesus Luzardo. We saw the Royals and the Marlins. There was a report out there. A lot of Marlins fans out there didn't want to believe it because it's like, why would we trade Jesus Luzardo? And then it's like, well, you don't have Alcantara this year. Are you really going to be able to compete? Even with Luzardo, you got rolled over by the Phillies. Would it be better to maybe trade Jesus Luzardo, bring back some major league talent with some prospects, to where you're still in contention, but you also got some future pieces as well for the next few years? So the Marlins and Jesus Luzardo, they could use an upgrade in the outfield. Brian De La Cruz, it seems like with him, there were good advanced numbers a couple of years ago, but he really dropped off last year. It seems like he could use a new home. Jarren Duran could be an upgrade there. If we go look here at the Miami Marlins. Now, to me, if you put Jarren Duran with the Marlins, now a lot of people say, well, you got Luis Ariz. Like, do you really need Jarren Duran there? I think you could absolutely have Jarren Duran in this lineup, right? You got Luis Ariz. That guy's your leadoff hitter. And then you could have Jarren Duran as your number 2. You could have Bell or Chisholm stay at 3. Bell can be your 4. Or Berger can be your 4, Bell can be your 5. So yeah, absolutely, I could see, I could definitely see a home here for Jarren Duran. We'll see. I mean, that would give them 1, 2, 3, 4 lefty bats. So I still think your lineup is pretty balanced at that point. So I think Jarren Duran could fit well. The one name that I keep hoping for personally, and I'm trying to manifest it out there, is Logan Gilbert. I think Logan Gilbert is going to be a lot tougher to pry from the Mariners, considering the fact that he has 4 years of control. I want people to remember one other thing, too, when it comes to the Red Sox when they got Josh Beckett years ago. Remember, Beckett had 2 years of control left. I think people forget about that, right? 2 years of control for Josh Beckett, which that's basically Dylan Cease right now, right? You look at, but Beckett had better numbers at that time. So you got to remember that Jesus Luzardo would have more years of control, but Logan Gilbert has 4 years. So that's going to be really tough to pry. it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening, right? There are some other pictures. I don't see the Red Sox going for Cease. I think they want someone that's going to be there for at least the next 3 years. That's just my opinion there. Gilbert would be a dream. I don't know if the Mariners do it, though. The only way I see the Mariners, I'm going to put this out there. Red Sox fans are going to hate me for even saying this. I honestly think, for me personally, the only way I can see Logan Gilbert getting moved is if you involve Tristan Casas. Now, Red Sox fans, you can decide for yourself. I'm sure you've already decided that's a no. But I feel like personally, that's going to be the only way you can go get Logan Gilbert, right? Because they're going to want a major league quality bat, not Jarren Duran, where Duran is a speedster. He had decent numbers last year. But Casas is going to be the bat that the Mariners would want, in my opinion, right? A guy that you can put in the middle of the order. That's what the Mariners need. That's the only way I can see the Mariners trading Logan Gilbert. And even then, I don't know if they even do it at that point. So it seems like Jesus Luzardo would be the more reasonable option. We'll have to wait and see on this. But the Red Sox, they are definitely looking to do something according to the reports. And no surprise. And another reason, why Logan Gilbert is probably not as attainable as someone like Jesus Luzardo, because the reports are the Red Sox are looking to trade outfielders, right? So I think with the Marlins have asked about Tristan Casas before. I don't know. To me, like I just feel like Casas and like some other prospects for Luzardo. I don't know. I would only trade Casas for Gilbert, to be completely honest with you. So another bit of news that came out this weekend with the Red Sox is Chris Cotillo. He had an article out here, which there was a little part of this that I didn't agree with. There was stuff about the Red Sox payroll, right? Breslow's budget for 2024 remains unclear, at least publicly, but recent history shows that the first CBT threshold, where penalties start coming into play, isn't necessary for the ownership's guiding light. So last year, it was reported that they had a mandated budget of $225, which was significantly under the first CBT threshold of $233. Now, Chris, I'm going to get on to you a little bit here. I think the word significantly here, I don't think that was used very responsibly, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think the word significantly is you're getting a little media happy with that one, in my opinion. $8 million under 233. That's not really significant, if you ask me. Now, if you're saying maybe 30, 35, 40 million, yeah, I think that's pretty significant, right? But 8 million, this is where the media, this is where they like to use these little words and they like to plug them in. Because if you go look at what happened with Red Sox Twitter over the last couple of days since this came out, Red Sox Twitter's in a firestorm, and you know what that does for Chris Cotillo? It gets him the clicks, right? Because he knows someone is going to clip this, screenshot it, put it on Twitter. Red Sox fans are going to go crazy, and it is what it is, right? So Chris Cotillo, he gets the clicks, right? So no disrespect to Cotillo, I get it, but it's not significantly under the 233. 8 million is not significant. That's very normal, right? For if you do want to stay under the CBT, where you want to have a little bit of a cushion. Sorry, you should be able to win with a payroll of 225, 230 million. Sorry, don't even try to argue with me. The Houston Astros have been to 7 straight ALCSs. And how many World Series in there? Like 4 World Series in there. Look at the Royals. Look at the Diamondbacks this past year. You don't need to be spending a whole bunch of money. And to be honest with you, if my team is not in the greatest position to really just go for it, I don't want to go over the CBT either. Because it's like, well, no, we got to, why? Why am I going to be paying taxes when my team isn't even fully there yet? It's like we got to calm it down a little bit, right? We got to think. But there was also something else here where the Red Sox are also looking to maybe clear some payroll, right? And I did talk about this over the weekend, but Kenley Jansen is a name that keeps coming up, right? So let's see what ends up happening there, right? Kenley Jansen, $16 million. I think it's inevitable that he gets moved, personally. I think it's going to be very soon we see him get moved. Now, I don't know that for a fact, but I definitely see Kenley getting moved because the Red Sox have other options, right? Yeah, Kenley, he's a guy that you can be comfortable putting in the closer role, but at this point, with the Red Sox, they gotta fix up their team in other ways. So it's probably going to be best to trade Kenley. I wonder, honestly, if you could maybe include Kenley Jansen. Let's say you did a trade with the Mariners, right? Let's say you did for Logan Gilbert. You send back Casas. You send back Jansen, right? That gives them a very experienced guy for the back of the bullpen, right? Then maybe you throw in a top prospect, maybe like Roman Anthony, right? Or something like that, right? Casas, Anthony, and Jansen. And maybe you can get yourself Logan Gilbert, right? I wonder if that could be something. Mariners fans probably won't like that because they just absolutely love Logan Gilbert, but I get it. So look out for Jansen at some point. But there was also a little something on Trevor Story over the weekend. Now, it came from one of these accounts that I'm not you never want to fully trust these accounts. It's just never, I don't know. Let me just pull up the article for you. I did talk about it this past weekend. Go follow me on X. I'm at GingerSnapHide. So go follow me on there because I did talk about it here. But it was one of these accounts. It was like the MLB Insider account. Here you go. So they were pretty, whoever this is, who knows who this is, but they were pretty on top of the whole Yamamoto news as well as Ohtani. So I'll give them a little something, but I still always take these accounts with caution. However, I do think this is believable. I'm not saying Trevor Story gets moved, but I can understand the salary, right? I mean, that's where I think it's going to be really difficult. He's very underwater right now. It's going to be very difficult to move Trevor Story. He's owed $95 million over the next 4 years. I don't see Trevor Story getting moved. Maybe they get creative. Maybe they could figure something out. But the one way I could see it is if they maybe can if it gives them like $5 million, $10 million savings for this year, maybe. But I have a hard time seeing the Red Sox wanting to pay like 10 to 15 million of his contract for the next 4 years. That doesn't really seem to make a whole lot of sense to me. I can understand, though, if maybe they're kicking tires and maybe see if a team will take a contract, like the Giants, right? The Giants, I think Trevor Story could be a fit, and they were interested in him in a couple of years ago, and they have payroll flexibility. But when it comes to the economics of it, is Trevor Story really going to be a guy that you're just going to take his salary at this point? I don't see it. I think Trevor Story, right now, the best thing would be to keep him because he's going to give you great defense nonetheless, right? And the Red Sox, their defense was terrible last year. So they need Trevor Story in the fold. One other guy I wonder if the Red Sox would move him is Nick Pivetta. I highly doubt that, though, because they need pitching now. And it's like, if you're just going to get rid of Pivetta now, and it's like, well, where the heck's the pitching going to be coming from? The only reason I think maybe Nick Pivetta could be moved in a deal is he's getting paid like $6 million. So if you feel like you can go and get someone on the cheap side, maybe, I don't know. Either way, the Red Sox are looking to cut payroll, and I think you're going to see more news out of the Red Sox probably in the next couple of weeks. And don't blame me that I'm talking about the Red Sox. I know everyone's saying, oh, draft Nick Robbie here, which, yeah, I am definitely guilty of that. Hey, they're putting themselves in the news, not me. I got to talk about the news. Stay tuned. Now, let's get to some other news here. We had a little something with the Cincinnati Reds this past weekend. We had a little Frankie Montas this past weekend. And you know what? Yeah, obviously he completely imploded with the Yankees. I still think to this day, like, the Yankees should have ponied up for Luis Castillo. I was screaming that from the mountaintops. Absolutely screaming it. Go get Luis Castillo. Why they didn't do it, I have no idea. Like, it just blew my mind, man. And then they ended up getting Carlos Rodon, and it's like, I don't know what Cashman thinks sometimes. Like, it's crazy. I understand the Mariners gave up a lot, but, like, dude, you could have literally had Luis Castillo. I don't know. Blows my mind. So then they settled for Frankie Montas, and that was a complete bust. So then he was having problems with the shoulder last year, but it looks like he's going to be good to go. And they gave him a 1-year deal, $16 million. Or was it, or they're saying $16 million. Sorry, $16 million for the salary. And you know what? Listen, if this ends up working out, if he's healthy and he's good to go, listen, I'm telling you right now, man, this is not a bad rotation. And they also got Nick Martinez there. I mean, who knows what's going on with Nick Lodolo? I have no idea what's even happening there. So I think they're probably going to be starting. Fangraphs has him down here in the minors. So yeah, you'll probably see Nick Lodolo start out at AAA next year. But still, that's a guy with a lot of promise. If you get Montas right, oh man, that's going to be good. That's going to be good. So, and I see you, N-Rocks, in the chat. Montas, $16 million LMAO. Actually, that is pretty in line with what Baseball Trade Values was saying. And if you go here on the player value timelines, when it came to Montas, unless they, let me see here, did they? But yeah, they actually projected here for 1 year of Frankie Montas, they were projecting 1 year $16.4 million, right? You got to factor in a lot of things here. You got to factor in the track record and as well as the projections. So they were right in line right there, and they nailed it. I'm telling you, everyone, Baseball Trade Values, if you sign up for the subscription, you get access to these tools, right? Future trade value, free agent value for the future, as well as extension value. They have been on the money this offseason. Not like fully on the exact amounts, but very close, right? They've been doing better than Fangraphs. I'll tell them that right now. I'll tell you all that right now. But Frankie Montas, if we go here, take a look at what they're projecting him for next year. Again, if he's healthy, you know this guy can deal. Right? And you got to also remember, too, when guys, they're having injuries, it just throws off their whole routine. It's rough, man, and it's hard to really get dialed back in to really try and get yourself back, right? So for next year, they are projecting him to be a two-win player on Fangraphs, ERA at a 4.42, FIP at a 4.50. They're projecting 150 innings. Let's see. I wonder if you end up maybe being like 100 to 130, right? Just because he missed all of last year. He missed a good chunk of 22 at the end. Realistically, I think 100 innings to 120 is attainable, but to break 150, I don't know, man. But if he gets the full spring training, if he gets, ramped up correctly, then yeah, I could see it. But yeah, Michael, I disagree with you saying that Montas is no good because if you look at the numbers, he has a career FIP of 3.79. I'm not really sure where you're getting that from because his numbers over the last several years have been very good. Minus 2020, he really hit a bump in the road there. But his numbers in 2021 over the 32 starts, he was fantastic. 10 strikeouts per 9. Under 3 walks per 9, under a home run per 9. He was a 4-win guy on Fangraphs. That, I don't know, man. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to sound like a know-it-all here, but, I mean, I'm just looking at the numbers, and they look pretty good. The health is the problem. Again, if he's healthy, we say that a lot about these guys, but it is true. If they are healthy, they could be pretty good. And honestly, I think he could have way better numbers than these. Why couldn't he have better numbers than these? His numbers in his career have been better than this. Over the time in 2022, his ERA was a 4.05, FIP at a 3.78. That was right in line with his career FIP. I'm just saying. I don't see why they're projecting him for so high. I think, honestly, 100 innings, 120 innings, ERA at like a 4, FIP at like a 3.5, 3.6, 3.7. I think that's realistic for Frankie Montas. So, in other news, the Blue Jays have strong interest in Jock Pederson. They didn't get Shohei Ohtani, but you got Jock Pederson out there. And I actually predicted Jock Pederson to go to the Blue Jays in my offseason free agent predictions. Just saying. I'm actually doing kind of okay. I guess maybe not like the percentage, but compared to other predictions out there, I feel like I'm doing all right. But Jock Pederson, I did have to the Blue Jays. And there is some interest there coming from Toronto. They definitely could use a bat here. They definitely could use something. Right? Ohtani would have been amazing, obviously. But you don't got that. You got Kevin Kiermaier, though. But you got 3 lefty bats right now, but you need someone at the DH spot. And Pederson, I mean, that guy is not good in the outfield. Sorry, keep that guy. But he can go play some outfield, but mostly he would DH, right? And then you can basically just split time with some righty bats here, right? You got Espinal there, you got Jansen here. Could they maybe, or maybe you could do, I don't know, you could do like a rotation of righties in that DH spot. But I think it's very realistic. Jock Pederson can go to Toronto. We'll see. There was also something with Gio Urshela as well when it came to the Toronto Blue Jays. That was floating around out there. And they have also been connected with Yariel Rodriguez. But I'm just like, I've said this before, and I'm not going to dive into it too much again. They look at him as a starter. Where are they going to fit him in this rotation? Unless they get rid of Manoah. I don't know. To me, Yariel Rodriguez, that guy is a shutdown closer, man. Dude, if I had that guy in my bullpen, I'd be excited. But we had Gio Urshela in the news as well. And even his old team, the Yankees, are showing some interest. But the Mets, they have been connected with Urshela for a little while. And I could definitely, see why they would think that, right? If we go take a look at the Mets right now, they you obviously got Brett Beatty, down first year, but this would give them a veteran guy there. And, you could even play, you could have Beatty at third, and then you could also have Urshela like DH some days, right? So, I think Urshela, there's definitely a fit here for sure. So keep an eye out for that. I definitely think that's realistic. When it came to Urshela, let me pull up his numbers from this past year. I've always liked Gio Urshela. He's always been a guy, in my opinion, who is just really solid to have, but he got hurt last year. So remember that. He did something with his pelvis. I can't fully remember. But he was basically, it was a lost year for him. It was 31 or 62 games for him last year with the Angels. The bat wasn't really there. With Urshela, he's always going to give you pretty good defense at third. Nothing amazing like Matt Chapman or Arenado, but he's going to be a solid third baseman for you. He's going to be a guy that will give you like 10 to 15 home runs. He'll hit like 260, 280, a decent on base, kind of something with the slugging. He's a guy that I think is good to have on your team. All right. And I think for the Mets right now, that could definitely make some sense. And then the Yankees have also been interested, with the Yankees. Hey, Yankee fans loved Urshela. They really did. Right now, you have DJ LeMahieu at third. They feel a little clogged up right now in their infield, right? Rizzo at first, LeMahieu at third, Glaber at second, Volpe. So I guess if you brought Urshela back, he's basically going to be on the bench. But you got Peraza too. So, I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know, maybe Urshela, maybe they're using the Yankees to try and drive up the price a little bit. Maybe the agent there, they're calling the Yankees, trying to get the Mets to give them a little bit more. That's what I could see it as, so I don't know. But what else we got here? I think I just talked about everything. There's not really a whole lot, everyone. There's not really a whole lot to talk about. But my night is not over. I'm actually heading on over to Ballcap Sports because myself and Jim, we are doing the Barreled Up podcast tonight. And listen, you got to come on over because we're going to be doing a bit of a New Year's kind of a stream. We're going to be talking, so we're not going to fully dive into our predictions because that's impossible right now. Because obviously we still got a lot of free agents out there, moves to be made. But we're going to come up with some 2024 fun predictions. I'm sure we'll talk about some stuff going on as well in the offseason here. And but in the chat, I have put the link. You can go on over to that. It's going to bring you right over to Jim's channel. And again, we're doing the Barreled Up podcast. We are the co-hosts of that podcast now. So head on over there, but also make sure you go download the podcast itself because we only do a certain amount on the channel, and then you can listen to the rest of it on the podcast, right? So if you can help us out, go download the podcast for us. It's the Barreled Up podcast, but you can go watch us live at 9:30. So I'm going to start heading over there. We did just get a super chat coming in, and I think we actually got some stuff earlier. Here we go. So Wonder Davy, 22 months as a member. Thank you for that, my friend. And the Lonely Wolf, who housed alone at the moon, gifted 5 memberships. You are amazing, my friend. Lonely Wolf, I love you, my friend. One of my favorite names I've ever seen, but hey, I appreciate the gifts, my friend. I do appreciate that. And then I just see your super chat here. I gifted some subs for your new year. Hey, Lonely Wolf, again, appreciate that. I hope you have a great new year, my friend. And hey, helping out some people in the chat, giving them a membership. They can use the emojis. They can put the badges there. So great way to start 2024. Everyone, I'm out of here. I'm going to start heading over to Ball Cap. We're going to do the Barreled Up podcast. I will see you all over there. But I will be hopefully live again tomorrow night. Hopefully we got some news tomorrow. Hopefully not Wander Franco news, crying out loud. Can we actually get some baseball news, please? Something on Jordan Montgomery? Something on anything? Anything? Can we have anything, please? Blake Snell? Teoscar Hernandez? Are you coming to the Red Sox? What's going on? I don't know, man. I don't know. But hopefully I'm back tomorrow night. Until then, everyone, I will talk to you next time.